The Republican Party's roots lie in one of the most contentious periods of American history, the decades preceding the Civil War. It was a time during which the national debate came to focus on the issues of free labor, free land, and free men, issues that had an important historical tie to the old Northwest Territory, an area that had never known slavery and which also promised a Jeffersonian ideal of individual opportunity.
The Republican Party is born out of two things, in my opinion. One is the major fracture in American society between slavery and freedom, but it's also born out of dysfunction in the existing parties at that time. The old system is breaking down. The Democratic Party will survive. The Whig Party, which is a very progressive party, will eventually die, and the Republican Party comes in and it fills that niche. But there's an idealism in the party, and it's that idealism is really at its core. The party is the party that the burgeoning anti-slavery abolitionist movement needs to associate with, and they push it. Free labor cannot endure in a nation that is half slave.
These issues, which were central to the creation of the Republican Party in the 1850s, had a particular resonance in northeastern Ohio, an area in which New England ideals were particularly strong and had created important and distinctive attitudes towards slavery and self-reliance.
The nation is already coming apart. States have been seceding since his election. His election in November of 1860 triggers the secession movement. The sitting president, Buchanan, does nothing to stop it. So Lincoln's walking into a nation that's peeling away. When Lincoln is elected president, he's going to make the trip from Springfield to Washington, and the mayor of Cleveland, Ohio, which is a city of about 40,000 people at that time, cheeky, writes a letter, "Would you stop in Cleveland?" The fact that he decided to stop in Cleveland says a lot of what he thought about what was happening in Cleveland in terms of its support of the party that he was the candidate of and now the elected president of the Republican Party.
But then what happens is, of course, during the Civil War, Ohio sends many of its young men to war to support Lincoln and the Union. Very important in that war. A lot of the Civil War generals, some of the most important ones, Sherman, Grant, are Ohio-born.
Why do you want to study the history of the Republican Party? There are a lot of people on the Republican Party. Well, start with Abraham Lincoln, okay, that had some real solid values that put their country first and their party second. I think that's it. Once you're elected, you serve all the people.
Sadly, the city would be one of the stops on the route taken by his funeral train after his assassination.
It's a pouring, rainy day, and there are 90,000 people that come to see Lincoln's body laying in state. Now that says the respect for the presidency, but I think in particular for the man who had just saved the Union.
In the following decades, the Party of Lincoln was arguably also the Party of Northeastern Ohio.
The Republican Party grows from that to become a dominant party through these Ohio presidents. And so in the North, they win mainly on, as they used to say, waving the bloody shirt from the Civil War, that we were for the Union, we were the people who died for the Union to protect the Union. And so 52 years in a row, Ohio voted for a Republican going to the White House from 1856 right through 1912.